Hello, mathematicians. Mrs. Dorn and Ava are here with you today to get learning. So we're going to do a little warm up. And today we're going to count back. So we're going to count less. We're going to keep getting smaller and smaller. We're going to start with 20 and we're going to count back. So get your mouse ready. Make sure your screen's turned on and we'll start counting. Here we go. 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. How did you do? Sometimes counting backwards can be kind of tricky. Now we're going to count backwards one more time, but we're going to make it even extra tricky because you know how Ava is. She likes a challenge. So we're going to count back by tens. And we're going to start with 100 and we're going to see if we can count backward and get to 0. Okay, are you ready? So you really have to think. So really think, get your mouse ready, and join with me when you can. Join with us, I should say. Here we go. 100, 90, 80, 70, 60, 50, 40, 30, 20, 10, 0. Woo! Nice work. That was kind of tricky, wasn't it? Okay, so Ava doesn't have her marker, and I'm going to explain that in a little bit. But we do want to ask you a couple questions. So for this, you can just show us your fingers, okay? So last time we met, we asked you a number that comes after. And today we're going to ask you a number that comes before. So with your fingers, you got to think. I'm going to give you the number. You tell me what comes before. One less than the number I give you. Okay, so what is one less than 5? What's one less than 5? And show me with your fingers. One less than 5. Oh, yes. Ava, look at this. One less than 5 is 4. I see a lot of people with 4 fingers, and some people are showing me 4 fingers in different ways, aren't they? Some 2 and 2 or 3 and 1. Yes, one less than 5 is 4. Okay, let's just do one more and then we'll get started because I'm super excited about what we're going to talk about. So what is one less than 9? What is one less than 9? Find it on your fingers. One less than 9 and show us. Some of them are super fast. You're right. One less than 9 is 8. So if I have 9 up and I make one less, I've got 5, 6, 7, 8. So you're right, 8. So awesome work with that warm up. I know my mind's ready now. Is yours too, Ava? Yes. So Ava and I were talking, and last time we met, remember how she made this? She's really digging these bows things that she keeps making. And she had a heart. But now it kind of looks like a square. And so we were playing that graphing game, remember last time, where we talked about like we were rolling dice, we graphed colors, and then we've been graphing everything, and we played the dice game because we had fun doing that. And I was like, hey Ava, look at the dice, it's a square. And she said, no, it's not, Mrs. Doran, it's not a square. And I said, well, it looks like a square. And it was right, this part was a square, but if I even rotated or moved it around a little bit, it's what we call 3D, like you can hold it. And then I found out that this isn't called a square. It has a whole new name. This is actually called a cube. It kind of reminded me of an ice cube, but when all the sides are square, it's called a cube. So then we got to thinking and we found some other shapes. So then we kind of went on like this shape hunt all around our house. And I love candles. Love them. So this candle here, I said we were thinking it's a circle, but then we kind of said, well, it's not exactly a circle because, you know, the sides are kind of straight. And so this is called a cylinder. Say cylinder. Say it with me. Cylinder. It actually starts with a C, but it's cylinder. And so then I was like, oh my gosh, Ava, look, check it out. This glue stick is, say it with me, what is it called? A cylinder. It has circles on both ends and it's kind of long and skinny. So that's a cylinder. And then on my chapstick, love chapstick. This stuff's my favorite. And again, look at that. Kind of circles on the ends. and long. Cylinder. And then I was even thinking like maybe our markers, this is why I couldn't find it at first. We were having a shape museum. We were putting out all our shapes. And this too, look, circle, circle, long ends. So we talked about cylinders. We talked about cubes, which are square. And then I had this, and we were kind of looking at these two, and they had the straight edges all the way around. Like there weren't circles like the cylinder, but this had a different shape. This kind of was like a rectangle. So we called this a rectangular prism. Sounds like prison, but it's prism. So say that with me, rectangular prism. Oh my goodness. Rectangular prism. These words are so big, but yeah, rectangular prism. And then we found a Kleenex box, and sure enough, like it looked like it was square on one side, like a cube, like this part was kind of square, but then this looks more like a rectangle. So this is a rectangular prism. So if there's like a rectangle in it, it's a rectangular prism. And then things got really crazy because we were looking around and we were just kind of going around like calling out all the shapes, and we found this. This is kind of a fun thing. Watch what it does. Like if you point it, it pops. But what is this shape about? Look at it's a circle on one end, but it kind of comes to a point at the other. And you know, this is actually a cone, like an ice cream cone. Like that's kind of what it's supposed to look like. And it happens that that's what this shape is called. It's called a cone. So I'm like, yay, at least a name I can remember, right? Everyone say cone, cone, right? We know what that is. So look at all of these different shapes that we have. And then on top of the cone, there was a circle, but again, not really a circle because I can hold it. This is one of my favorite shapes to say. Say sphere, sphere, sphere. Like a ball, not really a ball. When you're talking about like mathematicians, we call this a sphere. So boys and girls, today we're going to have fun exploring and looking for shapes just like Ava and I did. So let me take a look and show you some of the things we did. So check this out. So I have a paper right here with all of those types of shapes that I saw. And I'm wondering if you remember what they are called. So I have the words are spelled out kind of here on the bottom, and I'm going to read them and let's see if we can figure out which one they are. And now I know I don't want everyone to unmute and talk because then it can get kind of loud, but I want you to think about what we were talking about. And the first shape is called a cylinder. Do you remember which shape of these is the cylinder? Cylinder right there. And then the next word that I have, this is a cube. Cube. Do you remember that one? It's like an ice cube. And so I was like, ice cubes could be both of these, but they're not. Remember, an ice cube has all squares, so it looks kind of like a dice. So yeah, cube. And then cone. And I was like, ice cream cone. But look, if I turn this upside down, now it looks like an ice cream cone, doesn't it? It doesn't matter which way we hold it. A cone is a cone, no matter how we turn it. So here's a cone. And then the last one we did was a rectangular prism. And I remembered that word rectangle in there. And I said, oh, look here's a rectangle. So this one must be a rectangular prism. So what we're going to do today is we're going to cut these out and we're going to go ahead and glue the words next to the shapes so we can remember them really, really well. And we can even go on hunts in our homes and see what kind of shapes we can find. So on this page, it's kind of neat because we have all those shapes. So a rectangular prism, do you guys remember what I saw that was a rectangular prism? I had my crayon box. So maybe what I could do is in this box, draw a picture of my crayons. That would work. And do you remember the cylinder, what I found? I found a lot of things. And I had my candle and my chapstick and my glue stick. So maybe I could draw one of those in here. And then I had, well, you remember what this one was called? The cone. Yeah. So maybe, and the only thing, well, we did find birthday hats, but we put those back. But we had birthday hats kind of remind us of this cone shape. And then of course, ice cream cones, like that game that I found that we were playing with. So look around your house, see if you can find anything with a cone. That's a more unique shape. It's harder one to find, but I think if you look hard, if you're a real mathematician scientist, you're going to find it. And then the last one is a cube. So look around, and the cubes are kind of tricky because you have to be asking yourself, is it a square on every single side? So like square, right? So even like if I'm looking at these awesome signs that I got, like check it out. Like I got these from Cool Parents. This one says it's cool to be kind. And I'm like, oh yeah, it's a cube, it's a square. But then when I turn it on its side, it's a rectangle. So this one was a rectangular prism. And I got this one too this year. I'm super cute. Isn't that cute? And I'm like, square. It's got to be a cube because I'm holding it. But again, when I turn it to the side, it's a rectangle. So that again would be like a rectangular prism. So sometimes shapes can be confusing, but they can also be a lot of fun, especially for mathematicians like you and like me and like Ava. So let's go ahead and let's start exploring. We'll see you in a bit.